Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Adam McKola TV. I am Adam. We are live. This is the Manchester United against Liverpool preview ahead of a huge game at Old Trafford for the club. Manchester United sit 2 points above the relegation zone. Yes, 2 points above the relegation zone before the football kicked off today, of course, Saturday day football. But Manchester United in action against Liverpool on Sunday. A side that are European champions. A side that are 8 games winning on the spin in the Premier League. And look, rivalry aside, they're doing pretty well at the minute. And they come at a time when Manchester United are in a big dip. We're suffering at the moment. We've got big injuries to big players. We're missing a lot of players. We've got a lack of depth as it is. And the performances and results just aren't there. So we're talking about that today here on the preview and much more as well. So make sure you're keeping it locked to Adam McKola TV. I'll be diving into the comments as well when I can, answering your questions and getting your thoughts and preview and predictions on the game. Thank you for joining us here on Adam McKola TV. Like I said, it's all about the game. And if you've watched the full-time Devils preview, you'll see I'm not holding much hope in terms of this game. But on the flip side, when I'm not being so negative, when I'm not thinking about how pessimistic I am about this game, you know, poor Liverpool sides have beaten good Manchester United sides. As the cliche goes, form goes out of the window for these games. And you'd hope, you know, the fact it's Man United Liverpool, I'm expecting it will be rocking at Old Trafford. The fans will be well behind the team, behind the manager, behind everyone. We'll be making a noise on Sunday. Pride will make us do that. I have no doubt about it. I remember when we lost against Liverpool, David Moyes' side, 13-14 season. We got hammered 3-0. And I can't remember a better atmosphere. It was incredible, the atmosphere that day. We were singing so much. The pride just came out. The team weren't performing on the pitch, but the fans made sure they did in the stands. And I expect the same on Sunday. Hopefully the performance will match that. I really hope the performance matches that. We could perform well and still lose because on paper they've got clearly a better team than us. Under Jurgen Klopp, they're playing very good football. They're functioning very well. They're clicking through the gears. You know, everything about them at the moment, they're on that crest of a wave. So we can perform well and still lose this game, but we have to put a performance in. It's vital. Now we know Ed Woodward and the Glazers and all that come out and talking about they're backing the manager and all this, but a bad result against Liverpool, and I think they'll start getting itchy, and they'll start getting itchy trigger fingers, and potentially, you know, we could be looking at another sacked manager. I don't think all the problems Manchester United have and are facing are all down to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't think he's the sole reason for our issues at all. But, you know, you have to deliver results. Regardless, big clubs demand results. And we're not expecting to win the league, but we're expecting better results. We're expecting to be more competitive in games. We're expecting better performances. We're expecting, you know, the basics. What we were told when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer come in, we were going to run more. We were going to attack. We were going to play with high intensity. We were going to play with pressure. We haven't been doing that. So we need to see performances because I don't know about you, but Manchester United, I feel like the Manchester United fans I've spoken with, you know, we didn't expect big results this season, but we expected to see improvement. We expected to see performances, signs of, you know, learning and trying to move on. We know we've got a very young squad. And if we're not seeing signs of that, then you can't justify holding on to any manager, regardless of how much of a legend he is. But the issues obviously lie above him, as I've spoken about before, numerous of times. I've spoken about under numerous managers, under Mourinho, under Van Gaal, under Moyes. There's been issues above them. And yes, managers can get it right. Yes, managers can get it right in spite of that. But there has to be a real demand for success on the football pitch, stemming from the top to the bottom. It can't just start in the middle and work its way down. It has to come from the top to the bottom. And that isn't the case at Manchester United. No matter how much they want to say, you know, we're geared towards success, we're not. Because the decisions we make show that we're not serious. Or at least the decision making is wildly wrong. And that will happen. I know Ed Woodward's been coming out and defending himself, but that will happen when you have Ed Woodward in charge of things. He was speaking about this week, Ed Woodward. He was speaking about how, and I don't want to go away from the game too much, so I'll come back to the game in a bit. But Ed Woodward this week was speaking about how there's great football people that work at the club and it's disrespectful to them. And he was speaking about recruitment and signing players. Now, I can criticise the club based on recruitment and signing players based on the last 2 summers alone. But you could also, based on the last 6, 7, 8, in fact, since 2005, you can criticise the club for its recruitment. But the thing for me is he didn't realise that it was the decisions above recruitment as well. It wasn't just buying players that was a problem for Manchester United. It was who was appointing the manager, who had their influence on the manager, who was helping the manager make decisions, who was, when a manager wanted something, delivering upon that. He's spoken about a technical director and a sporting director for a long time. He's briefed that to the press, but he's never delivered on it. Why are you briefing that if you don't intend on doing it? You say one thing and do another. And you've got to expect criticism when you're coming out in 2013, 14, saying we can do things that no other club can do. When you're coming out and saying things like that, and you want to give an appreciation for success and the successful side of the club, which I'm sure you take when you're in those meeting with shareholders. You want to take the credit for that, but you don't want to take the criticism for the things that are going wrong. And it shows the signs of a very weak man, the one that can't take criticism, a very weak man at the helm at United, the face of the Glazers. He's not going anywhere because he helped the Glazers broker the deal for the club, and because of that was stuck with him. So we're relying on a manager coming through and being outstanding, getting everything right, like Fergie almost, being the greatest. And obviously, I don't think Ollie. I think Ollie's out of his depth anyway, but he's fighting a losing battle. Do you know what I mean? Even better managers have suffered under this ownership. So I just find what Woodward was saying this week bullshit. But back to the game, and you look at where we are, and the realistic side of us says it's going to be very, very difficult. It's going to be very difficult. But the optimistic side of me, the absolute nutcase in me thinks we can pull something off, and we can pull a result out of the bag. I keep saying McTominay is going to score like Fletcher against Chelsea in 2005. Remember the looping header? And I remember coming up against that Chelsea side, one that had actually won the league, and it was a time when we weren't playing very well. To be fair, we had Rooney, Ronaldo and all that, so it was a different circumstance. But that game we were written off and we got a result. We've been written off for this game. I've never seen the odds so big for Manchester United at home in a game. I think we're like 3-1, 4-1. And part of me thinks I'd be stupid not to get on that, because Manchester United at home, Liverpool haven't beaten us in the last 5 games. If we put in a performance, I think we can get a draw, minimum, and possibly win this game. So I think the doom and gloom, it makes sense. It makes sense. But the proper optimistic Manchester United mad fanatical child side of me comes out from when I was a kid, and I just thought we're going to win every single game. To be fair, back then we were going to win every single game, but stranger things have happened. Who would I play? It's interesting who would I play in this game. Now, I'd usually leave the team predictions to the end of the video, or the middle of the video at least, but I'll bring up the team predictions in a minute because I've got a number. I've done 2. Now we're hearing Paul Pogba's out, David De Gea's out. We're hearing those 2 players are out at the minute, and because of that, obviously, we're going to have to bring Romero in. Who's going to play in midfield? Now Klopp kind of suggested that he thought Ollie was playing mind games, and De Gea could return, and Pogba could return. Now Pogba's Instagram, social media kind of suggests he's close to fitness, but I'm not getting excited about that. I don't think they'll be involved. And I think Ollie's probably learned not to risk him. We risked him in games against Rochdale. Was it Astana or whoever? And he's been injured now. And I don't think we'll do it. Although it makes sense to risk someone against Liverpool, I don't think it will happen. Although it'd be great if he did, because he'd be a useful... Obviously, we've got no creativity in the team anyway, but it'd be a very useful tool in terms of hitting them on the counter-attack when we soak up the pressure, trying to release the likes of Daniel James, Martial if he plays, Mason Greenwood if he plays, Marcus Rashford. So, massive disappointment if Pogba is out, but it looks likely that he's going to miss the game. Pogba's going to miss the game. Martial, Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, I think they're back, but probably not able to finish a full 90 minutes. Hopefully Wan-Bissaka's the one that is nearer to match fitness. And I say that because obviously I'd love to get Martial back in. But I say that because fullback's such a key position for us. We need... Wan-Bissaka is vitally important for us. And I've got two options for the team, guys. Let me read some of your comments first. Yakub saying he hopes United win 2-0. The Champion saying 2-0 United. Let's be having them. Prabesh says United, even if we play our best, 2-0 loss against Liverpool. And at the present condition, we will lose 8-0 for sure. I wouldn't be so sure about that. And if you are very sure about that, go and stick some money on it. Lalu's unless there's a Liverpool fan says it's nice that Pogba's out, which is weird. Yesterday I read a news, it says United plan to shock Liverpool. I don't know, I should hope or weep, to be honest, says D. James. Yagub's feeling really confident. I'm more concerned about where the goals are going to come from, says Alex. John, thank you again, my brother. You shouldn't have. 6 players are United standard. We have 3 injured, so we have 3 United quality players tomorrow. Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, who is adequate. If you're saying Lindelof is adequate, then I'd jump in CCR and say Twanzebe is also, because I think Twanzebe is quality. Right, so this is the first team that I've gone with. Romero in net. So if De Gea's out, as we expect he may be, we stick Romero in the net. Then we've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back. Hopefully he can play at least 60-70 minutes. Axel Twanzebe at left back, with Lindelof and Maguire at the centre-half position. McTominay, Matic likely to play in midfield. And then we've got Mata, Daniel James, Pereira, and of course Marcus Rashford up top. Love to see Martial start. I really hope he is fit and able to start the full game. If he is, then you could put Rashford and James wide with Martial through the middle, which would be a lot better as well. Maybe we could see Fred start, but I think with his recent form, his performance against Newcastle, probably bring in Matic, McTominay, and play Juan Mata in there as well. But I also thought about, so this is the back 4 that we could play. I also thought about a potential for a back 5 or a back 3 with 2 wing backs. Now you could play Ashley Young on one side, you could play Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the other side, Lindelof, Maguire, Twanzebe in the heart of the defence. Now what you also have is the ability for Twanzebe to push in at left back. We've seen he performed quite well there against Arsenal. It's not his natural position, but he could push out into that area. So then when in attack, if Twanzebe pushed out there, you then have this formation, but with an extra attacker in Ashley Young joining with the team, obviously in place of Juan Mata, who is there. Matic McTominay looks like the likely go-to midfield if we're without Paul Pogba, which is looking 75%, 90% likely. McTominay, Matic in there. Should Fred start? I'm not too sure. Andreas Pereira, it'd be interesting. Now, I'd love us to have the option. Well, we probably have, but I just don't see Ollie starting Mason Greenwood in this game. But you could start Mason Greenwood through the middle. He's obviously opted to play him out wide. You could start Mason Greenwood through the middle if Martial is not fit enough to start. And then put Rashford in the wider positions. Now, I say that because we've seen Liverpool's fullbacks. They love to get forward. Robertson and Trent love to get forward, both of them. And with them getting forward, there's going to be space in behind. There's going to be space in the wide areas. And if we can get Danny James, if we can get Andreas Pereira, whoever's out wide, Marcus Rashford peeling out wide, causing those issues in those positions, then it'd be great to see. Squawker's in the comments as well saying the back 3 could be interesting, although Ollie said after Newcastle that he was going to continue with his current methods. So I guess that means 4-2-3-1. Possibly, yeah. Steve made an interesting shout in the preview, said if we play 4-2-3-1, we're probably going to get absolutely done in. Now, the way the 4-2-3-1 could work is, obviously, they like to bring their fullbacks quite high up the pitch. So you then get Matic or McTominay trying to prevent them from playing out from there. Now, we've got Jeremy Vela with a super chat. Thank you very much, Jeremy, for chipping in with his super chat. He says, whoever plays tomorrow, they have to give 120% and more. Hope Martial and Aaron Wan-Bissaka are back. Come on, United. Martial being fit would be a huge shout. Now, how would the team line up if Anthony Martial did come in? You're looking at Anthony Martial through the middle. You're looking at Marcus Rashford pulling out wide. Danny James being in that other wider position. And then maybe you play Andreas Pereira in the central midfield position. But I just think, even though Matic is very slow, even though McTominay very slow, I just think that they're gonna play with those two in there. I don't see him going for anything else. He's probably going to look at McTominay being someone, Matic being someone who can provide experience to a team that is lacking in that at the moment. And then you look at Matic will also drop in between the centre halves if we play with a back four, allowing Wan-Bissaka and Tuanzebe to go forward. We need to change the system, says Ashwin. Interesting point that Squawker made as well at this moment in time, that maybe they're not going to do that at the moment, and Ollie's going to persist with this 4-2-3-1. The frustrating thing for me is this 4-2-3-1. Is it the best formation for when we've got all of our team and all of our players fit? I don't necessarily think it is. If we've got everyone fit, McTominay in the midfield, Pogba in the midfield, maybe another one could be in the midfield as well, Fred or someone like that, Matic or whoever. Get three in midfield. You get Rashford in the wider area, Martial through the middle, Danny James, Mason Greenwood, Tahith Chong, Andres Pereira, Jesse Lingard, whoever in that wider position. Because we haven't got a great number 10 at the moment. Jesse's been playing there. He's not been delivering in terms of goals, assists, and performances have even suffered recently. We know Jesse can perform well without getting goals and assists, but he hasn't been doing that. Mata hasn't been performing. He's been a good experienced figure, but he's not been performing in that number 10 position in terms of goals and assists. Andres Pereira as well. So you look at that and we haven't got really a great number 10. You could play Pogba there, but then you're needing two stronger central midfielders. Have we got that? And I think a 4-3-3 is better to get Pogba in his best position as well. So it's a frustrating one. I think we should go towards a 4-3-3. And when Ali came in, it shows how crazy it was to let Ander Herrera go. Because when Ali came in, Matic, Herrera, Pogba, midfield three, Jesse Lingard, Martial, Rashford, pacey, quick, front three. Then we had the back four there. Obviously, David De Gea. We looked good, but now we don't. Alan Fay says he thinks United are going to win 3-2. Interesting story. My missus said that earlier. She doesn't know much about football. Some of you are probably going to say, probably like you. But she said, stop stressing. Put some She told me to fill up this bowl with positive energy, which was a weird thing to say. She's not a hippie or anything, but it is something a hippie would say. So she wanted me to do that. I said, nah, you fill that up. And then she said, you're going to win 3-2. I don't know about that one. We got ads in the comments. Am I in the comments? We're going to see the same thing we've been seeing since Boo. Jamie thinks we should play Romero, Shaw, Maguire, Tuanzebe, Young, Matic, McTominay, Pereira, Greenwood, Rashford, Greenwood, Rashford, and Danny James. Rashford right wing, Danny James left wing, and Greenwood through the middle. Defence looks great. Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Axel. It says D James. We can only hope Ollie plays a 4-3-3, but reality is he will play 4-2-3-1. Says Espu. Now I think playing 4-2-3-1 at this moment in time probably makes sense with the amount of midfielders we have available, with the quality we have in midfield, with Pogba out. It makes sense. But going forward, I would like to see us transition into a 4-3-3. Maybe that is the way we want to play under Ali, but he's just not being able to do that. But then as well, you'd like to think that the way we want to play isn't a formation. The way we want to play is a mentality, it's a mindset, it's tempo, it's speed, it's aggressive, pressing, getting forward quick, using the wider areas, getting the ball into the box, scoring goals. That's how we want to play. The formation you play is obviously, you should be able to adapt it to your opposition and what players you have fit. But I would like to see us go into a 4-3-3. Spartan says he would love to see Garner in the mix. It would be great to see him. But I just can't see Ole throwing Greenwood in, throwing Garner in into a game against Liverpool. Although it would be great to see. Sam thinks we're going to get spanked. He's not too confident about this one. While I remember as well, before we finish this video, I have done plenty of preview stuff on other channels. Full-Time Devils, and by the way, we've got about 10 minutes left of this video, but I'm just getting the plugs in now for the people I've worked with this week. Obviously, Full-Time Devils, the preview is up on the channel. Also got fan cams, all that stuff coming after the game tomorrow, so keep it locked for that. Squawker, I've done 2 videos with them this week. We've done a worst to best with Paul from Redmen TV, ranking all of the Man United and Liverpool players, and then we also did a video looking ahead to the weekend's action as well, including a big chunk on Manchester United against Liverpool. So there's all that stuff out there. We're doing this as well. We got the live reaction show after I finish fan cams at Old Trafford on Adam McKola TV tomorrow, so make sure you like and subscribe for that one, and then we'll have the match day vlog. Hopefully I won't be crying in the match day vlog. Hopefully we will be winning the game, but it's going to take a big shift by whoever does play. Fingers crossed. I've erred on the side of caution, but fingers crossed Martial, Luke Shaw, they can all start this game, because when Ole had his press conference, we still had a training session to go. Maybe they can put in something in training and they just look a lot better, but you know, I just don't think he's going to... There's no point, you know, we've had a lot of muscle injuries. De Gea's another one. Pogba had a muscle... I think it was a muscle injury anyway. But we have had a fair few muscle injuries this season, and we don't want to see them persisting. And the thing with muscle injury is that when you come back, if you're not fully ready, you're going to pop it again. And then you're going to be out maybe even longer. So the likes of Martial, we've seen how big of a miss he is. We don't want to rush him back. Bissaka was ill. Now, I don't know what illness this was, so I can't comment on that. It was just reported as illness, but you'd like to think a whole international break, he should be back, unless it's a serious illness that we've not been reported about yet. But fingers crossed he's back very soon as well. Big ask of Romero tomorrow, says Jamie, as well. Ryan, it just never worked out for some reason. Obviously, they're all busy guys. I see they're not even making as much content on Cheeky Sport together anymore, so it was just difficult to make it happen. I have been speaking to Joel recently. I've been speaking with Steve recently as well, both separately, but I'm thinking about doing a podcast or something extra. Straight Up still happening. The link is in the description for that, with myself and Dean. Going to get Momo from Head Movement TV involved a little bit as well, and start doing more stuff away from football, because it's pretty depressing right now. But we're still going to continue with the football stuff, the sport content on this channel too. So make sure you're liking, sharing, subscribing. Say it again. And on Monday as well, pretty hard acts to follow. But Poet, Vooch, Michael Timms, I'm following their footsteps. I'm going to be on Copper 90. It's not a permanent gig, but I'm presenting a show for them on Monday. So hopefully, you know, that may happen more regularly. I don't know, but that's going to be happening on Monday. So loads of content coming up, whether it's on Adam McKola TV, Full-Time Devils, or whatever else. Make sure you're there. Ole needs to make changes earlier to give players more chances to impact on the game, says the champion. And I totally agree with this as well. Ole's substitutions have been very peculiar at times, to say the least. I want to see him making substitutions more proactively. You know, bringing Greenwood on for 5 minutes sometimes. What's the point? Obviously, a lot can happen in 5 minutes, but what is the point? He needs, you know, give him more time to make an impact. Amar's not worried at all about Romero. Hopefully, we will show character tomorrow. Believe. I can't read that name out because it's in another language. I don't want to guess what language it is and offend. So I'm just going to say it's in another language. But it looks to me like it may say Ando or Ambo. Ambakov. I don't know. Andy Andakov? Maybe. Bruno was there. Thank you for your comment regardless. Do you blame the players because of where we are, says Jamie. This current, like, what makes me laugh is when people say, oh, this current squad finished second under Jose, look how much. It wasn't the same squad. We've stripped a lot of players out of that squad. You know, the Darmian, Smallings, Alexis, Lukaku, Herrera, Fellaini. Loads of players have left. We are doing what we needed to do in terms of stripping the squad and hopefully getting through new, younger talent, the right players in with the right attitude to the club. So do I blame the players that we've signed over the last 6-7 years? They have been part of the problem. Because when you look at it on paper, Falcao's, the Di Maria's, you know, even Herrera, Mata, Fellaini, Lukaku, Zlatan, Pogba, you know, all these players that we signed, on paper, they all made that, every single one. You know, they made, I want Pogba to stay. I'm not, but every single signing that we made, at the time, they made sense. They should have had bigger impacts on the club, and they didn't. Now that can be down to them, for some of them, Alexis's case, etc. That can be down to management, with some, and the constant change of management, the constant change of tactics. But the players have been one of a number of issues in terms that, on a whole, our players haven't been good enough. But there's different reasons for it. Minnie's in the comments, caught us live as well. Thank you for joining us. G-Man's in the comments. We can win tomorrow, says Julian, if we keep a clean sheet. With which our defence is a big possibility, but a clean sheet wouldn't be enough. We have to create something. And bang on. Our defence actually, although it looks a bit shaky at times, it actually isn't that much of an issue. In fact, our defence, you know, is probably the best part of our team at the moment. And when we have, you know, Aaron Wan-Bissaka fully fit, Axel Tuanzebe competing with Maguire and Lindelof for that centre-half spot, Bailly back, Luke Shaw in at left-back, maybe Brandon Williams challenging for him, Delo coming in at either side of full-back. You look at it and you think our defence is pretty strong. We got ample goalkeepers in backup to David De Gea. If you look at, you know, Sergio Romero, Joel Pereira, Dean Henderson. I know the latter two are out on loan, but the defence and the goalkeeping positions aren't an issue at the moment. It's further afield, midfield, paper thin, strike, paper thin. So yeah, it's other areas of the team. So yeah, you're right. The defence is actually decent. I think we've got a decent defensive record as well. Although you look at some of the goals and they have been frustrating to concede. Guys, I really don't know what I'm going to predict for tomorrow's game. What are you guys predicting for the game tomorrow against Liverpool? What is your score prediction? Get those in the comments below. We are heading into the final few minutes of the show here on Adam McKola TV. Thank you to the guys that have chipped in with a little super chat. I really appreciate you guys. Obviously, I appreciate every single one of you for joining the show. And whether you super chat or not, you just make a usual comment. Thank you for participating in the show, and thank you for making it interactive, whether you're watching live or you're watching after the fact, because we have a couple of hundred watching live and then we have thousands watching after as well. Thank you for tuning in. If you're not subscribed, then subscribe, because this is the first video ahead of the Liverpool game, and then after the Liverpool game you get 2 more as well. So actually 3 more. I'm telling a lie, 3 more. You get the live fan cam from the Old Trafford forecourt as I walk to my car straight after I finish fan cams. Then you get the match day vlog. Then you get the aftermath live with myself and Dean. So plenty coming your way here on the show. So make sure you subscribe if you're not. 1-1 draw, says D James. Ollie thinks 0-0. 3-0 to Liverpool, says Jamie. 2-1 to us, says Alex. He says he's hoping for that though. Ali says 2-1 Liverpool. Ashwin says 2-1. Ali also comments we can't score more than 1 goal, and we haven't scored more than 1 goal since that game against Chelsea on the opening day of the season. Stiffin, thank you for your comment. 0-0 is the best